Episode number 30 of Mirrorless Minutes is now live with Mike Baining and me, Jamie McDonald. You can see my name right there at the bottom. So we had like super high hopes for this episode and not realizing that it wasn't going to work the way we wanted it to. We wanted to do like a live demo of actually how to do the 4.0 firmware upgrade on your EM1 or the new the firmware upgrade for your EM5 Mark II also that it's going to drop tonight. Promise it's supposed to drop tonight. Yeah. We just didn't realize it was going to drop later than our 8 o'clock show. Actually, in about an hour from now, about the time we'd be wrapping up and going down and sitting with our families, right, we'll actually be sitting at our computers updating like you will. So apologies for that. We will discuss how you do it. We just won't be able to show you, sadly. So you have to take our word for it that what we explained to you actually will work. So how's it going, Mike?
Good. It's sort of disappointing, I guess, to not be able to do that, but that's all right. You know what? Everyone will be catching it. I think just once everybody gets this, going to be really happy to begin with.
Yeah.
Because I know I was playing with mine today on the one camera that like we have.
Yep.
And just that's awesome. The focus stacking and throwing it all together, amazing stuff. You know, and then your post that you did was great. It was a macro, but at the same time you did the thing with your what was that skull deal there?
It's actually a little tiny skull, so it's not like something crazy. But no, that was a fun article to write. You know, lucky enough to have a relationship with Borrow Lenses to where they kind of get a hold of me every once in a while and ask me to write something, and I was totally geeked on this one because it was an article about the benefits of micro four thirds with macro photography. It's funny that it's not funny. It was exciting to be able to talk about the things that full frame shooters say are negatives and spin it 180 degrees and talk about how they're 100% positives, especially in regards to macro photography.
Big time.
And for those who don't know, who don't follow me necessarily like on Twitter or Facebook or something like that, I'll put a link in the show notes to that article. It's a pretty cool read. It's kind of an introductory kind of thing to macro for micro four thirds users. So
yeah, and I think it's a good thing to share if you know some people that are considering going to micro four thirds and they might even dabble in macro. Hey, read this article. There's another reason that you may get into it. So I think that's a fantastic, nice point for the whole micro four thirds.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. What do you want to discuss? I guess you want to talk a little bit about what's supposed to happen and what's not supposed to happen.
Sure. Yep.
During your firmware update. I feel like we're doing like puppets or something on the screen.
I know. Like I need some cardboard cutout people that I'll just say, and then you do this.
I feel like there's someone behind us going, waste time.
Right. So, and I'll go over it from the most basic way to describe it, I guess, because there are a lot of people. I know numerous people who've told me, I've never updated my camera before, but because of all the hype surrounding this and all the new features that are coming, I want to do this upgrade. How do I do it? So the most basic thing, and it's funny you mentioned it because I would have never thought to even mention this, but it goes without saying, I would think for most people, but some won't get it. You need your cable. I mean, we have Wi-Fi in the camera, but it's not going to Wi-Fi your update to you. So basically you're going to want to start off with your camera that comes, or your cable that comes with your Olympus camera. Plug it into a USB port in your computer. Locate the connection on your camera. I've got an EM5 Mark II here. So there's a little flip out tab dealio here on the side. And right here is the port that you would plug that cable into, right? So the way I say you do this is you, first of all, make sure you've got the Olympus Updater software. There will be a link in the show notes on where to get it. So you need to have that, of course, to update. Have your Olympus Updater software. Don't have it open yet. Plug in the USB end into your computer. Plug in the camera connection side into your camera. Turn the camera on. And when you turn the camera on, and I can show you this part. I suppose I should have left the cable plugged in and been a little more prepared for it, but luckily I have a little hub here. I can plug it in pretty easy.
When you turn it on, you got yourself another drive.
Exactly. So
it's just like connecting another drive.
Yep. So when you plug it in, This is the part that confuses some people. When you plug it in and you turn the camera on, you're going to be presented with this little screen.
There it is.
Okay, so this screen, the very top thing that it says is storage. You're going to actually hit OK on that, because what you're doing is you're accessing the storage on board on the camera, okay, which is basically the chip where your firmware resides. The other settings on there are for different things. I won't go over those. The next one down, I will tell you, though, is how you would help retrieve photos from your camera. But you don't want to worry about that right now. The very top one that says storage, you just hit OK on your directional selector there. And once you do that, once you hit OK, open up your Olympus Updater software. When the software opens up, it's going to give you this little splash screen talking about, hey, you know, you can update your camera, you can update lenses. So if you want a specific lens updated, if there's an update for it, make sure that's on your camera before you get going here. And then you just hit next. And because I don't have it all in front of me, I can't tell you exactly the sequence of events that it goes through, but it's basically going to tell you, you know, hey, it's found this camera, and it sees that this is the camera model, this is the current firmware on the camera. New firmware is right here. Do you want to use that? And then also, if you've got a lens, we'll say the 25 millimeter, it'll say this is the firmware on that lens, and there's an update for that also. So you click on the camera to select that, and you hit next or OK, whatever, and it's gonna give you some pretty, you know, well thought out directions telling you, you know, it's gonna start installing the firmware. Make sure your batteries are full. Here's the key, and this is so freaking important. I cannot even stress it enough. It's the biggest piece. It's gonna tell you the firmware update. It goes through two parts: the download, which takes a minute because, especially for this one, there's gonna be like a crap load of people downloading the update, so it might take a minute. Their servers could be bogged down or slow. Give it time. Once the firmware is downloaded, then it goes to the next phase where it's going to install on your camera, and this is the big thing right here. When it is done, in big, gigantic, comical font on the back, it's going to say OK to disconnect. You do not disconnect.
Like that.
Yes, it is literally like that.
It's that big.
OK. Boom. It is OK to disconnect. Do not turn off your camera. Do not unplug the cable. Don't even look sideways at your camera until you see OK on the back of it. Because what happens if you disconnect or turn off your camera, or if your batteries go dead, that's why you need full batteries. If anything happens before you see OK, you have now basically corrupted the firmware install, and your camera has to be sent into Olympus for them to do a factory like reset, which is, it's like updating the BIOS on your computer for those techies out there. If you screw up an update on your BIOS, you basically jacked your motherboard and you're kind of messed up. So same kind of thing. And you're going to be tempted to unplug it because you're going to think, well, it's been 3 minutes. It's been 4 minutes. It's been 5 minutes. It might take 5 or 6 minutes for it to finish.
I've had, especially if it's a big update like it is.
Oh, yes, exactly. Good point.
Because I think it was the last one from the 2.0 to the 3.0 on the EM1. That was a big update. It's best to go get something to drink, go to the bathroom, see how everybody's doing, get away from your camera.
Yes.
Because it's like watching, water boil.
Yeah.
Say, when's it going? When's it going? When's it going?
And, like Mike said, walk away. When you come back, if it's done, it will have a big giant OK on the back of the screen. If there's not an OK there, don't think to yourself, oh, maybe I missed it. You didn't miss it. It stays there until you turn your camera off. That's the last step. When it says OK, turn your camera off and then turn it back on, and you've got the new firmware. And like Mike said too, some of these updates are big. This is an entire brand new operating system install. The software isn't designed in such a way that they're just putting in like a little chunk. This is basically a whole, we're uninstalling Windows or OS 10, and we're doing a fresh install from scratch to add all these new features. So that's why a lot of people get upset. They don't understand that, hey, I lost all my settings. Well, you lose all your settings in Windows when you completely reformat your hard drive and put Windows back on. It's the same thing. So so that's it in a really big nutshell with OK on it. You just plug in the cable, plug it into the camera, turn the camera on, select storage, open Olympus Updater, follow the steps, wait for the big gigantic white OK, and you're okay, and you're updated.
Yeah, and look, and while you're looking, or when you do the updater, check your lenses, because I know we talk about the lenses, but a lot of people forget that Olympus, and and even the primes. I mean, I have seen the 25, I've seen the 17 had an update. Yep. These are in past, but maybe you don't have the right firmware on those, and heck, you might end up picking yourself up something even cooler that you didn't think. Well, this is great. This is nice to have.
Exactly.
So look at all your lenses, make sure they're right. Go right now. You still got time after the show. Go find your box, your empty box from your camera, and look for that darn cord.
Yeah.
Because you got to have the cord no matter how hard you try. You're not going to find any Radio Shacks open to go get the cord.
Yeah. It's funny you mention that, because I think a lot of people figure, well, I don't need the cord. I charge the batteries in the charger. I don't view I take the memory card out to get my pictures off. So yeah, you need that cord. Yeah, without a doubt.
One connection piece you have to keep.
So we could either share some images, which I've got like a weird assortment today, or we could talk about some upcoming events. I'll let you choose, because you've got something more exciting in regards to one of those two than I do. So
yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? I'll throw we can throw the events in, and then you can share first. So yeah, I've got a couple of things. One is next year, but the one that's real current, real excited about, just found out in the last 5 days. I'm going to be presenting at the Unique Photo in New Jersey. It's Fairfield, New Jersey, on December 13th for Olympus. And it's going to be presenting about something that is going to be very easy and fun, and that is following your passion in urban and street photography. That's about the first half of the presentation. And then the second half is going to be all about live composite in urban settings. I mean, it's awesome to talk about. I barely even need a presentation, but I need photos, I guess, up there to talk about, just because it's so much fun. But Unique Photo is, I think, a great way someone described it to me. It's like the B&H for New Jersey. It's a huge photo store. They've got 40 or 50 classes going on that weekend. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's free to register. I think they charge you for the talk, like to come into the presentation, but then you get it's $10 for the presentation, but you get a $10 token to spend in the store. So chances are you're walking into that store with the bargains they got, you're buying something if you're a photographer anyways. Yeah. I'm sure I'm going to buy something there when I'm there. If anybody's in the Northeast or, up in that area, it'd be great to see you. Again, I'm really excited to be doing that just before Christmas. I know everyone will probably be in a decent mood, and it'd be fun talking about street and urban photography. And so definitely excited to get out there. We'll have the link in the show notes too on that.
Oh yeah.
And then the other one is, again, and we talked a little bit about it before, and that's just the workshop, the San Francisco street shooting workshop. That is going to be next year, tax day, actually, if you're in the U.S. But April 15th, 16th, 17th, and that's going to be with Derek Story. And if you're watching our show, it's likely you already know Derek Story. I shouldn't have to do any introductions for him, but the Nimble Photographer, the Digital Story, a podcast that's been going for 10 years. This guy's the ultimate teacher. The workshop is absolutely worth every penny. I've met some of some of the best people, Victoria Diaz. That's where I met her, actually, in San Francisco on Derek's workshop. So just, a really great workshop, and I'll be teaching with him now, and excited about that. And he's got some areas, because he's from that area, so he really knows where to get in and get around San Francisco. And that's what you want when you're in those big cities. It's like when you and I were in New York.
Oh yeah.
just dropping down in the middle and hoping you can find something isn't great. But boy, when you get somebody to take you around, it really helps you. So yeah, those two things real important, to me. And Jamie and I will get together here. We're going to have our workshop pieces put together soon, and for next year. And we want to, be looking for that, because those will be fun too for our Mirrorless Minutes viewers, I know. and some out of town, some local as well. So we keep watching for those things.
Yep,
But,
definitely.
yeah, so if you want to, we can go to picture. Let's go to some image share.
All right.
While everybody is preparing their turkey, if they're in the U.S., I can smell it downstairs. That's why I'm saying that.
I know my wife's cooking right now too. All right. So, like I said, crazy assortment of photos today. So this picture right here, I use Photoshop Creative Cloud, and I have this plugin for it. It's called Tick Panel. It's TYCH, kind of like diptych. It's basically for assembling multiple images into like one. These are all these were all shot with the Tough TG4. It's mirrorless, so I'm going to include it here. And it's because we were talking about macro earlier that I decided to share it as well. But this file is let's see, what is it? Was it 4, 5, 6 images there? And assembling it in Photoshop was like a nightmare because it ended up being like, I don't know, 3 or 4 gigabytes. You know how Photoshop seems to like make everything a ridiculous size until you flatten the image and shoot it out as a JPEG. But I just kind of created this because I've been on this macro kick, after doing the thing with borrow lenses. I wanted to kind of share something with macro in it. And it just shows the versatility of the TG4. This image right here that I've got the cursor over right now is zoomed out at the widest setting on the TG4, and I'm lying on my stomach on the beach along Lake Michigan this past summer when I shot that. And I'm probably, I don't know, a foot away from that little cluster of shells. And to get an idea of the size of the shells, the bigger image right above it, you can see the largest shell is in my hands right there. So it's, an eighth of an inch long or something like that. But then I just kind of gradually go through zooming in to show the macro capability of that camera. And the bottom image is the closest I could get, and that's in the super macro microscope mode. The shell that's in my hand, what you're looking at the bottom, is the same shell, and the one above it with the little grain of sand stuck to the side of it, it's all that one shell that was in my hand. So it gives you an idea of just how crazy you can get with macro on that camera. So we just had our first snow, and here in Eaton Rapids, we had like about 13 inches of snow. And naturally, I kind of found myself looking at pictures from the beach from this past summer, but just wanted to share that one. And then last week, last Friday, I went to the state's capital here, Lansing, to shoot. There's an event there called Silver Bells in the city. And it was cool because a friend of mine, a Mirrorless Minutes follower and workshop attendee, John Thomas, him and his wife drove and met me over there at the Capitol to shoot this event. There's a really cool parade. And then, of course, there's the lighting of the state tree and fireworks over the Capitol. So it was exciting to go be able to shoot that. And this is kind of a zoomed in shot that doesn't have people in it. But to give an idea of what the event was like, you, of course, have to include people in it. So this is kind of cranked back a little bit at, this is actually at 7 millimeters, but I kind of cropped out a little bit of it just to show you that, there were people there. It wasn't just me by myself shooting. And I'm still digging through pictures from our trip to New York and Pennsylvania with the other visionaries and trailblazers. And this is the Cathedral Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And, I've been in a lot of churches. I have never been in a church with a cathedral ceiling that's made of wood. That just blew my mind. It's one thing to see stone or brick, hard materials used, but the amount of wood and the craftsmanship that goes into something like this is just phenomenal. I can't wait to actually share this picture with my dad. He's a craftsman and woodworker, so this will probably blow his mind as well to see it. And this, of course, is an HDR photos, bracketed 3 shots, 3 shots at 2 exposure values each, and then processed in NIX HDR Effects Pro 2. And the last image is seriously probably one of my favorite images from the whole event. And this is Peter Baumgarten. He is one of the trailblazers. He's our brother from Canada. And we were at this event, a drink and click event. If you're into any kind of photography, fun events or workshops, you need to look up Drink and Click. And of course, I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. The founder of Drink and Click, Juan Carlos Gonzalez, hosted this event in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, in conjunction with Olympus, and we were lucky enough to have our own little private room so we could kind of escape if we wanted to for a little bit of downtime. And we decided to come into this room and do a group picture. It was really interesting club-like atmosphere, you know, crazy pinkish lights and white leather couch. And we decided to do a group photo. And while everybody was just trying to figure out, you know, what they were doing and going to find the rest of the group, Peter says, "Here, take my photo." And he sat down and held up this fork. And it, to me, it's just the coolest freaking picture. He's such a riot and such a cool person. You know, he's, you know, again, family, you know, we're all like family. We all get along so well together. I wasn't picking my nose, I was scratching, but so yeah, it's really, it was a really cool time. And I just had to share that photo.
Yeah. I'm still trying to get through the thousands of pictures. So I've got a message from Victoria. I don't know if you're getting anything, saying that the show is not showing, and Bob Panic says that too.
The show is not showing.
It's not coming up live. It says, Victoria says, it says the live stream hasn't started yet. I checked it out. And I guess I don't see it playing, but it sounds like maybe what happened. Who knows what happened last week when it sort of cut out.
That's kind of weird.
I don't know. Everything looks good on this end though. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it looks great here as well.
Yeah. I mean, so I think we just keep it rolling, and it may end up being on. So everybody's going to see it, or is probably thinking we're updating.
Right. Yeah, that's outrageous. So I'm just going to swing over the Mirrorless Minutes YouTube channel while you're doing that.
Yeah. Check it out. I'm going to go and I'll do some sharing here. Let's see. Okay. Well, do you see that though? Picture in New York.
Yep, sure do.
Okay, good. Okay, all right. So again, I know Jamie spoke a lot about, I think my first three here are from that same visionary summit. And this is some of the time we had. One of the first days we got together at One World Observatory. I know when I got up there, I think when we all got up there, we went, "Oh no, look at the fog." And, you know, I figure it's a good way to test the dehaze button and lighting for sure. But you know, it still worked great. I mean, I look at this photo and that fog really lends something to it. I'm real happy with, you know, the bridges back here with the Brooklyn Manhattan Bridge, and you know, plus you're shooting through the windows. You know, it's not like you're out, you know, outside trying to shoot this stuff. So it just amazing though, the detail and the mass amount of buildings in New York when you look down upon it. And I know I have shots from all around. I'm trying to use my mouse here, all around the One World Observatory. But I would say this about the One World Observatory: if you go to New York, that is a must see.
Yeah,
I think you need to get to the top of that. I knew it was going to be really cool. I was excited about it, but man, I think that might be the first thing I do again when I go back. You know, looking for a better day, obviously, from a standpoint of, you know, the skies, but still it's just an amazing thing. And then to hear everything about it as well, you know, and hey, how many times are you going to get an elevator, right, Jamie, that goes 24 miles an hour?
Yeah, it was crazy.
So that was pretty cool. So next one was there's across from where we stayed at the Sands Casino in Bethlehem for the summit. And you can see here, these are the steel stacks from Bethlehem Steel. And we were off to the right here where either right there or there, I can't, probably this way. But across, we could see this old graveyard while we were shooting throughout the day. And I know Peter and myself walked over there one morning, and I'm telling you, that thing was straight up and down. We were not prepared to go. It was like being in San Francisco. The roads were straight up and down right there. So you can tell the top of this gravestone here, you know, at the level height of these. But what an amazing morning. The fall's coming in, and, you know, we're there for the sunrise, and, you know, looking over all the homes that are here. And this is an older, very, very much older neighborhood in here. And this graveyard was very dated back into the 1840s, and actually found a sub graveyard in the back after I walked to the top into the woods that actually trees have grown through. You know, so it was really a sharp thing, and you know, it gives a good perspective of the size there and that. And excuse me, this next one here is our bridge night. This is one of the ones where we decided to go out with about 5, 6 guys, you know, from the program, and get down to the Brooklyn and Manhattan Bridge, and we were down actually in the Brooklyn Bridge Park. And this shot here, this is not anybody we know. We didn't pose somebody up there. We just walked upon that, you know, and saw that guy sitting up there, and I just tried to be as quiet as I could because I'm like flipping out, going, "This is awesome! Look at that guy up there." I'm just like, "This is great," because this is a 2.5-second exposure, which I just, please don't move. You know, the guy was really after a few of us started shooting, I think he realized, and he got down and moved out of the way. But I really wanted him to stay in there, and I love this shot. And you know what it reminds me of? This guy reminds me of like the Joker in Batman, yeah. You know, looking out over Gotham. You know, it's just like it was just crazy seeing him. And we were there. This was at the end, so this had to be 12:30 in the morning. Oh, yeah. When we finally got out of that park there. So yeah, I really like that shot of the Brooklyn Bridge and that fog really laying in there too. But while we were there and with Olympus, finally got a hold of the EM10 Mark II. I know Jamie's had it because he's done some videos on it, but I was like, you know, just chomping at the bit to get that camera in my hand, because that's my #1 camera for shooting in the streets for sure. And this new one is just fantastic. So as soon as I, you know, this week I got it out just to show. We did have a little snow here. That was like, I think we only had like 5 inches, but I know just to the west of us, I don't know what you had, Jamie, but I know this one in Howell, they had like 15 inches.
Yeah, I think we had like 12 or 13.
Did you? So you really got hit.
Oh yeah.
You know, but just throwing on the 14 to 42 lens that came with it, and you know, just getting some shots of the neighborhood. And this is when snow was pretty, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, other than driving in it, it's probably not. But this is just beautiful, you know, all the trees until they all break and cut down the power lines and stuff. And then tonight, this is just more of a joke. Tonight, I put this together to talk about our new firmware, because I do have the firmware on one of the EM1s. And so I thought, well, I'll do some focus stacking today. And I shot 10 frames and put them into Helicon focus, and you know, with pencils, trying to, you know, go both different ways and get as much in focus. This one was just too far out. Probably could have shot more frames actually to get that, I guess. But it is great when the firmware comes out, guys. Get on that focus, the stacking or the bracketing, and try them both out. But you know, that was for tonight to talk about, so it's sort of a funny thing, I guess. I thought it was going to be better than that, but it didn't turn out to be. So let's see here. I gotta get back, and I want to go back. Why is it not coming off? I'm sitting stop. Great.
Hit escape.
I could try that. Will that do it?
Yeah, it might.
Oh, I don't know.
No.
How about now? Am I back?
You're back.
Okay. Jeez. Oh my gosh.
What is it with?
Did you see the show?
No, we're not live. I don't know what the hell's going on. It's so weird. Like, it says we're live right now.
Yeah.
In the upper right corner, it says live. We're live. I don't know where we're broadcasting to, and I go and I can copy the link to the event.
Yeah.
And I copied it and I pasted it into another browser window, and it says, you know, you click on it and it just doesn't do anything. So I'm like, okay. So I don't know if it's Google Hangouts or what, but I think that Mike and I are going to switch formats here. We're going to have to give it a test run soon. Yeah. There's another platform out there called Blab, and I like to blab, so obviously it was made for me. But so I think we're going to try that out. It does the same thing. It allows actually it does some added functionality. I'll talk about that for just a minute to kill a little bit of time here. But So if we switch over to the Blab platform, what that allows us to do is live stream to YouTube, just like we do now, which is cool. We like that. Actually, I don't know if it live streams to YouTube, but I know it pushes to YouTube, so you can watch it after the fact if you're not tuning in live. But you can watch live. And the cool thing about it also is that if you are watching live and you are chatting with us, like there's a feature where you can chat with us and we can answer questions. And if we're like, hey, I don't want you to keep typing all the time, let's just pull you right into the show, and bam, we can just pull you right in and have you on as a guest. So I think that'll be a fun thing to do. And I think we're going to look at transitioning over to that soon. Like I said, Mike and I need to give it a test run and make sure it works,
Yeah, that would be sharp, especially if you get some good feedback and
definitely
come into the show. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And super interactive, because that's what we're trying to do, is get more interactive.
Yeah.
What do you want to well, we got some time.
Talk about Rocky Nook.
We could talk about Rocky Nook, or you could hit that tip.
Oh, yeah.
Another tip.
Okay, I'll talk about the tip. You talk about Rocky Nook.
Okay. All right.
So, tip. I think Mike and I are going to try and do this more regularly. I think the last show I mentioned doing. The hell did I mention doing? Not having to go into the art filter dial. Yeah, right. Don't use the dial. Just use it from your color mode option there. So here's a different tip. Again, it goes back to like the art filter thing. Again, it shows you how much I use the art filters. So some of you may or may not know there's something called art filter bracketing, which that feature allows you to basically you press the shutter button once and it'll take the one photo, but then it'll process it through all the art filters. Cool. But what if you don't want all the art filters? What if you have like 2 or 3 that you like to use, or 4 or something, but not all of them? Yeah. Instead of 14 art filters, you just want 3. So you can actually go in and disable the art filters that you don't want, so that when you do art filter bracketing, it just processes using those art filters. It also allows you to do other things as well. So not only can you select the art filters to bracket your shot as, you can also select the different color modes like vivid or portrait or natural. Or if you're like me and I have a custom black and white setting I like to use, I can have that selected as well. So that when I do the bracketed shot, it might do, we'll say, dramatic tone, and it might do, I don't know, diorama, and then it might do my custom black and white. So one shot, 3 versions of the photo, and it's really easy to set up. And I'll talk about how to do that right now. So basically, you're just going to go. And I feel there's probably a better way for me to be doing this, but this is going to have to suffice for now.
Yeah, that thing with the
cord.
But we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, maybe I'll start projecting it on the wall behind me. But
yeah.
So basically, okay, you're going to go into your menu, go down to shooting menu number 2. It's the little camera with the number 2 next to it. Scroll over to the right, and you'll see where it says bracketing at the top here. Roll over to the right again. It's on off. You want to go to on and roll over to the right one more time. And here's your different options that you can bracket. You can bracket auto exposure, white balance. If you go all the way to the end, that's what we want. We want art bracketing. Roll over to the right. You got to roll down and over to the right again. I know it kills people that you have to dig so deep, but for goodness sakes, there's so many things in these cameras, so you have to dig. So you want to turn that on. So now this has all of the different art filters here, right? And you'll notice that I don't have them all selected. They all have check boxes you can, check. I just have pop art selected, grainy film, pinhole, dramatic tone, vintage, vivid, and my custom. So I've got like 5 or so. So out of all of these different options, there's like 20 options here. I'm just going to get 5. So one shot, it's going to process that in those 5 different ways that I have selected here. And to show you how it works, I just hit OK. So it's enabled. And we'll get back out of the menu here. I'll take the one shot of myself. Oh, I don't have a card in my camera. I'm such an idiot. Trust me, it would work.
That's the next show. That's the tip on the next show.
Yeah, the next tip will be remembering to put a card in your camera when you're about to demo something. Well, anyways, so again, trust me, it works. So that's my tip for today is basically not just using art bracketing for those who didn't know about art bracketing, but for those who did know about it, customizing your art bracketing so you don't have a million different photos. You just have the ones that you are, the ones you prefer.
Yeah, sure is a lot easier.
Sure
is
yeah.
a lot easier. Yeah. But yeah, that's a great tip. And it's another one that I think a lot of people just don't realize. You don't have to have so many darn things to go through.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be so deep. Well, you mentioned Rocky Nook, and
yes,
everybody's got a Black Friday special. Everybody, it seems like. But one that is really something, I think, that is from Rocky Nook right now through the 29th is 50% off everything at Rocky Nook. I mean, that's a serious amount of money. It's half off of everything. So we're gonna have a link in there. Click on that link, and that'll take you over to the site. And anything, I mean, the OMD books, books on street photography, Lightroom. I mean, everything you do, landscape, vision, just an amazing amount of photography books. I would really suggest everybody check that out. If you don't have a great idea for a gift for your photographer friends, right now you just save yourself 50%, and you look like you spent a bunch of money.
Yep.
So there you go.
and there's nothing like, I'm sorry, I was playing with the camera because I wanted to show off the damn bracketing. Did you mention that it is both for physical and digital media?
Yeah, it says 50% off everything.
So
everything.
Nothing says you care more than getting somebody something that's actually like a physical product.
Physical book.
Right.
Yeah. Especially photography book. If you can get
that. Exactly. Without a doubt.
Makes it great. But okay, so we hit the tips. We got that. I guess I know we're over. We're 8:37, so we're good on time here. We've done well there. I think in my mind, it is Thanksgiving here in the U.S. and tomorrow everyone usually will be off celebrating, and hopefully everybody's not out there shopping. Hopefully you spend some time with your family. And I know I want to thank everybody that's watched us and tuned in. And even if you're not watching now, because for some reason Google doesn't want to show this, I'm sure you will watch it on YouTube. We do appreciate you with us the whole year and now over a year. But I'm going to throw out one special thanks, and that's to at least my number one fan, probably Jamie's too.
Oh yeah,
Jamie's probably got his own, and that's my mom. She sits through every one of these shows. I don't know why. She's not a photographer, but she does listen. So I appreciate her, hanging in there and watching, and it's always giving us good comments. So, and then she comments, I think, on everybody's pictures. That seems like I follow too. So
yeah, oh yeah. No,
but really want to thank everybody. Time of thanks.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. I mean, we have a lot to be thankful for this year. We're in a good position with a great company and with the greatest community. I mean, I a couple of years ago would have never imagined being here doing what I'm doing and just having a group of people that communicate with me on a regular basis. I mean, our community is the best. I mean, I think Mike and I, we get to do what we do because of you, and how you create our community as well. So, I mean, I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
We're just very grateful and very thankful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I guess I'm kind of tongue tied, which is weird.
Yeah, but that's well. We'll say let me say at least one last thing. December 9th, our next show, super geeked about our special guest. I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah.
And let you guys wonder for a while. But I'm telling you, you're going to want to tune in, and we better get cooperation from Google.
There will be no damn problems. If we have to get the blab thing figured out before then, that's what we do. But all right.
But,
so
that's all I've got.
Yep. So I guess that's it for tonight. Thank you for trying to tune in.
Yeah.
Hopefully this makes it somewhere on the internet. I mean, we have links that show that we're live. I don't know what's going on, but you guys take care. Everybody have a safe holiday weekend for those here in the States that might be celebrating and traveling. Watch out. It's amateur hour tonight. A lot of people that like to drink and be stupid are out drinking and being stupid. So stay safe. Have fun with your families. We're thankful to have you part of our family. You guys take care till the next show. See ya.
See you, everybody.